The Mongols Motorcycle Club has had a few extremely critical moments, from the Queen Mary to Laughlin, Doc Cavazos, Little Dave. The club has somehow managed to not only simply survive, but against all odds, the Mongols Motorcycle Club has clawed their way to the top. In my opinion, the #1 club of the top 5. After they got into an incident at the Queen Mary against the Hells Angels, the club was all but done. They were down to 12, maybe 15 members total. That should have been it. That should have been the end of the Mongols right there. They used clever tactics like changing shirts, things like that. They would just show up and they would be like, boom, we're here. They'd see him in a cowboy hat over here, you know, a Levi shirt over here, whatever. They made themselves look bigger than they were. And that's after going underground for a year. Fast forward, they rebuilt all the way back up, only to have 2 of their presidents in a row threaten to take them out again. Both men did things that threatened to tear the club apart, even worse than the Queen Mary incident. But which one of them was the worst? Which one of them did their club brothers the worst? Which one of them hurt the club the worst? I have all that and much more. This is who I was, but it's definitely not who I am. Welcome to Vegas Profile Stories. Let's get it. Pee-wee.
This is it.
This is it. So he talks about a lot of stuff. Betty!
Hey, YouTube wants a sock check, homie. Let's see them socks.
Don't be scared, bro.
You have to know how to do your arm.
I do?
Yeah.
Oh, shit! Do it!
So Rob from Ventura.
Yeah, and other places amongst the world.
Don't feel like you gotta, stick up for me. I'm fine. I mean, I can handle myself. I ain't never been no coward or needed people to, fight my battles.
BA. Last time we were talking, we started to talk about...
What's up, everybody? This is my nephew, Mikey. Mikey, say hello.
What's up? Sonia Williams.
I'm here.
We came up in the same type of circle, we know all the same people. So nobody will deny, when it comes to the Mongols Motorcycle Club, 2 names really ring bells when it talks to who did the worst for their club and their club brothers. Now, we're all pretty aware of what happened with Doc Cavazos, right? We all know what he did when he left the club, basically. One of the most notable things that stands out about Doc and his time in the club was the Laughlin River Run riot. When they got into it with the Hells Angels, being the Sergeant at Arms, the National Sergeant at Arms, Doc's main priority needs to be take care of the National P, make sure that nobody gets to him. Well, he failed that in miserable fashion when Roger Penny, the Mongols National P, got stuck like 8 times. Doc was nowhere to be found, and he sure the hell wasn't protecting Roger. Now, after absolutely failing to do his job, he's seen going to an elevator that was awaiting. It's like a service elevator or something. Him and Little Dave, a couple of others, they get into this thing and go upstairs. Meanwhile, his P, he's struggling, man. He got poked 8 times and he made it though. By the grace of God, Roger made it through that. But now he needed time to heal. While he was healing, Doc was appointed interim president for the Mongols Motorcycle Club. Basically, he was just going to fill in, right? He was already on the national table. Might as well. Nah. Doc finagled his way into becoming the National P, and then he instantly medically retires Roger Penny. Puts him basically out to pasture. He's allowed to come around, tell war stories, things like that, but he's no longer a full-time member of the Mongols. So not only did Doc fail to protect that guy, he put the moves on so that he could take all the power from the Mongols. See, the Mongols, they run different than the Hells Angels do. The Hells Angels, they have charters, charter autonomy. Basically, each charter rules themselves. The Mongols, that's a lot different. At the top, at least at this time, whoever is leading the Mongols, whatever he says, that's it. There is no questions. You're told to do something, you do it. That's insanity. This day and age, to have that much power, and you'll see, it corrupted a lot. Now, Doc's big vision of grandeur is, we're going to become the biggest club with the most members, and we're going to be the dope dude. I mean, basically, they wanted to peddle that street pharmacy stuff, right? All right. And what's his plan to gain all of these members? He's going to pull them off the streets. He's going to pull them from the neighborhoods, the avenues, the 18th Street. Hey, y'all want to join the Mongols? All right, come on over here. Now, with this many people coming in and kicking up dust, because, you know, these dudes, they ain't no, they're not dorks off the street. That's a fact. These dudes are straight gang members. They're going to come in. It's going to be chaos. And that's what it was. So chaotic, in fact, 4 ATF agents were able to blend in and become full patch members of the Mongols during this time. Now, Doc's reasoning in it, they already know the street code. They already know how to conduct themselves. I mean, there's not going to be much training, right? Never mind that these guys didn't even ride bikes. Most of them, that's not their life. That's not what they've put themselves to learning, to doing, right? Not unless they're out there jacking bikes or something like that. I get it. Like, I came off the street too. I understand that completely. I learned to ride a motorcycle when I started stealing motorcycles. Now, Doc, he's under the assumption that 100 pennies are way better than 4 quarters. But what happens when they start doing what they do? They go rob the 7-Eleven real quick. Well, now you just got the club maybe caught up in a RICO. They're out there, they're doing the most. They're doing what they're known to do. 18th Street, avenues, man, hey, they're get down. It's legit. They are on one. They're on one. That's for sure. I just want to know, how you going to be in a motorcycle club and don't ride a motorcycle? Like, you can't wear your cut in a car. Like, I don't know, call me crazy, but I mean, it's in the name. Motorcycle club. Doc didn't give a shit though. Come on, bring them all. Now, seeing all of this happen, a lot of the long-term members, they're seeing dudes just getting their cuts left and right. They're seeing these street gang members come in and join their thing, not ride, show up. I mean, I'm sure the clubhouses were just full of fights in church. Shit like that's going to happen, right? People are going to rub each other wrong. It's all alpha all day long. But these dudes, I mean, this isn't what they cut out to do in their life. This is not what 18th Street and the avenues were looking for. But they saw an opportunity and they jumped on it. I mean, good for them. Now, the feds sit around, they watch, they wait. Finally, they've had enough, they make their move. They come down, Operation Black Rain, they take 100 some odd dudes down from the motorcycle club, right? The Mongols, they're facing a RICO now. And this is all due to the actions of some members, not many, gang members that have become members, and Doc Cavazos. Basically, that dude wanted to be the next Pablo Escobar, but the American version, right? He's out there, they're slanging dope, they're doing the most, right? They're kicking up way too much noise, and now it's about to cost them. Now, Doc, he wasn't about to do that time. Come on now. Doc folded like origami, right? Like soft-ass origami, wet origami or something like that. He just crumbled. His brother, his son, from what I hear, same difference, man. The apple must really not fall far from the tree in that family. Now, right before this, Doc, he's written a book. In that book, basically he forged his name into having the rights to the Mongols logo, right? He did it for the publishers, basically, so that the Mongols logo could be put in the book. So he just said, yeah, that's mine. I own that. The feds were taking notice of stuff like that. So when they come in this RICO and Doc decides he wants to flip, they want that logo as a part of the deal. Doc has to sign over ownership of the Mongols logo, their brand, as a part of his plea deal. Now, Doc, of course, he does that. The only problem is, it don't belong to him. It never did. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of kind of how that works with who has ownership of it or anything like that, because they can find out themselves. I ain't about to say it. There are fail-safes in place just for things like this, right? But Doc really did. That dude, he ratted out everybody for doing what he ordered them to do. And then he tried to sell their logo out. And what the feds were going to do with that, they were going to start taking cuts. They were going to say, hey, we own the rights to that. You're not allowed to wear that any longer. They were going to destroy the Mongols this way. And it almost worked. Less than a decade earlier, they had issues already in court. Every single member of the Mongols was indicted, basically. They were found guilty. The Mongols were found guilty. But nobody was named in the indictment personally. So they put the Mongols on trial without putting anybody on trial, found all of the Mongols guilty. They weren't going to serve jail time. But what this was going to do is this was going to better the next RICO. Basically, the feds were setting up to come after them. If they see them with the cut, they can RICO them, right? The feds were playing real slick. I don't know who put these plans together, but hey, I'll tell you what, if the Mongols didn't have such good lawyers and so much fight in them, they would have very easily lost their logo right there. They had 2 separate court events, basically, where they're all found guilty of a RICO, but they're not, but they are, right? And then the feds are like, hey, that logo belongs to us anyway. Doc signed it over. What do you mean Doc signed it over? He doesn't own it. That's not what he said. We now own this. And they had to go to court and fight for it. And finally, it came out, the judge is like, no, this is a freedom of expression. That all types of things go into this, right? Copyright infringement, ownership, all types of things had to go into play. And that judge had a lot to think about when he went back in his chambers and just got into the law books, I'm guessing. I don't know, but he came out with the right decision. Like, no, the feds, you can't do that. You're doing too much. Now, never mind that. If the Mongols were to run up on somebody who had a Mongols cut on, and they were to physically take that off of them, that's a robbery, a kidnap. That's like a life sentence sometimes, depending on how they want to go after it and who the jury is, really. But if the feds do it, it's okay. They can physically come take it off because now they own it, right? That's a slippery slope right there. The feds are basically asking for privilege to do what they would put Mongols away for life. But that's kind of their get down, isn't it? That's who they are. There's cops out there that are dirty too. I know of one I can think of right now. Dirtiest cop I've ever seen. So the Mongols, they're forced to recover again. They have to put it all back together. They got to kick all of these street gang members out, or most of them. I'm sure that there were a few, maybe a handful that were like decent bikers, right? And they wanted to get away from the street gang life, and they said, yeah, I like this. And maybe they were about that and they stayed. But for the most part, all of them is, hey, we'll see y'all later, man. Thanks for all the rowdiness and the Rudy Poo-ness and all the fun. We'll send you a Christmas card. And that's kind of how that went. That's when Little Dave takes over. Now, Little Dave, he's like Doc 2.0, but shorter. I don't know. I would say the beta version. Would it be the beta version? I mean, they're both betas. Well, I can't say that. Little Dave, he'll get down, but I mean, Doc tried to get down in Laughlin, but yeah, he sucked at his job that day. Poor Roger. So Little Dave takes over. Somehow he gets voted in as National P. Things are going to get better, right? For a minute. And Dave did enact a couple of things that were cool, and he was a politician. It was a popularity contest, and he was winning. But under the pressure, you better be on your game. One day you don't feel right, totally mess your whole life off. Little Dave, he's out there, he's getting him some chon-chon, right? He's busting cheeks everywhere he can. Well, his wife, she ain't about that life. What you mean you're out there clapping the neighbor's cheeks? Now, you better get back over here. They get to arguing. They split up. She starts recording the phone calls. Little Dave, in one of his phone calls to her, Little Dave springs it on his wife in a conversation that's being recorded and says, hey, we only have a year. We got to figure out an exit plan. She says, what are you talking about? He says, this agent, he's leaving. He's retiring in a year and I won't be protected anymore. Excuse me? Protected from what, Dave? What's this ATF agent going to protect you from? Now the wife, she'd had enough. She takes this, sends it over to like 2 members. She says, hey, your boy, this is what he's all about. That's it. Little Dave's going to be kicked out for it, right? He has to be. You can't say stuff like that and be a part of something and still think you're going to be a part of something. The ATF agent even got on the stand and said, hey, Little Dave has never been a paid informant or an informant. Of course he's going to say that. They'll lie. They'll do whatever they got to make you believe that he's clean, because they need him to be the National P of the Mongols. If he's working for them, I don't doubt there's no paperwork. Of course there's not. Why would there be? You're going to put that at risk? You have the National P of one of the top clubs in America in your pocket. I bet he never even said Dave's name. Anything. He went to Wendy's and he was like, oh, what's the owner's? I got to go to McDonald's. No, that's Dave's. I can't. Ooh, I said it. Oh, right? I bet that dude didn't say Dave one time in a public manner or fashion, because he ain't gonna do anything to compromise that if allegedly it's true. Now, Lil Dave, he's been all over it. No, I didn't. I never would. Okay. I mean, that's a hell of a thing to be saying to your wife then. And the lame story that you came up with talking about, oh, I was just using it as a tactic to make her feel for us or something. I don't know. It's a lame move by Dave. And it seems like he showed his ass, you know? He got drunk, was, poking hyenas, and like it backfired on him. And this fool over the phone said what he said. Now the wife, hey, she's kind of a scumbag too, right? Not kind of. That's scumbag activity. If you're with somebody and you're on the phone and you get damning evidence against them and you take it to their best friends, their closest confidants, what kind of wife are you? I don't care if he's cheating or not. Shoot him. Well, don't do that. Never mind. We're going to cut that right out. Do something else, right? You're in that life too. And you can't act like you're not. When you're married to the national president of a 1% motorcycle club, you're in that life. Act like it. She just gave him up. Well, I guess, but she did the proper thing, right? No. She's supposed to be 10 toes down for Dave above everything. She doesn't have a cut like that. She's got a property of, but she ain't got no cut like that. She just betrayed her man. So they both did each other hella dirty. That's fine. Now, there is Laughlin also. When Ray Ray shows up, and Ray Ray, doing the most. Ray Ray from Sonoma is he's about this life. Now he shows up, he hears that the Mongols are getting out of line with the older member or something like that. He shows up heated. What's little Dave do? He moves himself to the very back of the crowd, away from all the danger. And he's sitting and he's watching and he's sipping and he's watching. And as soon as everything pops off, I'll give it to even Doc kind of rushed that way towards Ray Ray and all the... He was down to at least get in a little bit of it. Now Roger's over there getting poked the fuck up. But, I mean, at least Doc didn't run away from the fight. Little Dave turns around, puts his drink down and just goes the other way. And then he says, oh, I'm flanking. And like I said in one of the other videos that I've done, hey, man, you ain't flanking if you don't engage, right? You're running. If you don't go after somebody, you're running. You're skirting around the issue. Miss me with that, little Dave. You were running away. Now, if you'd have ran and got the bag that had the little Mouska tools in it or something, or shown up with a bag full of wrenches, hey, bro, cool, that was your job, right? Shit popped off, let me go get the, you're the armorer. But instead, you didn't throw one blow. You skirted yourself away from the incident, got onto the elevator with Doc. How he was allowed to not only just be in the club after, much less become the national president of the club after, is beyond me. Like, that dude must have like a golden tongue where he just talk a nun out her underwear. I swear to God, have her over there doing wild shit. That's probably, why that all started for him, if I'm thinking about it. His wife's like, oh, you like nuns now, huh? Check this out. No, don't worry about what I'm doing. Nah. Hey, what's your homie's address again? Cold world, man. These women ain't right. These women ain't right no more. I'm telling you. I had one leave me. I went to Target to get her something nice and it just bounced on me. Never said goodbye or nothing. That's a cold world, man. Oh well. I'm probably better off without her anyway. Now, Doc did Roger Penny hella bad, right? Nobody could really do worse than that. He let him get hit multiple times in a melee with no protection. And then he took his job and retired him for it. So, I mean, you have to almost give the check mark to Doc when it comes to, like, members, right? Roger Penny. Nah, hell no. Lil Dave says, hey, hold my cerveza, homie. Let me show you how to really do Roger dirty. So Roger, he's seeing what's going on. He's back around the club. Doc's gone. Lil Dave brings him back. He's not liking what he sees. A couple of the others, Lil Ron, Preacher, they're not liking it either, right? They have their annual run at Palm Springs where they all get together and they have fun, right? They're at the resort in Palm Springs. Roger comes up and he starts to address the Mongols, right? And now what he's addressing them about is he's not liking the direction and the things that he's seeing from Little Dave. Before he can even really finish his first sentence, Little Dave has him moved on. They put hands and boots and whatever. They did Roger dirty, and Lil Ron and Preacher. These are men that have bled for this club, fighting other people. Now they got to bleed for this club from internal issues. Now that's what I'm saying when it goes to absolute power corrupts absolutely. To where Little Dave in some way thought it was okay for him to do that to three of the probably the Mount Rushmore of the Mongols. They didn't cover up their ink or nothing but each man, they had to go and figure out a way. One did laser, right, removal. One just covered them up. Imagine putting so much into the club and being put out like that for speaking up. That shit's wild, man. To do Roger like that, I feel like Lil Dave did Roger dirtier than Doc somehow, and Doc got him hit 8 times. There's a certain hurt, there's a certain pain that comes with betrayal. I mean, Doc, he didn't betray Roger that day or that night. He betrayed his post, he betrayed his oath, right? He betrayed all of that, his job, but he didn't personally betray Roger that we know of. I mean, it's very, very well that could be in his playbook where Doc would be like, watch this, I'm going to let this fool get hit and I'm going to take fucking national. I mean, that's not beyond Doc. I just feel like he was just in the moment trying to get whatever he could, do whatever he could in the melee. And he wasn't able to slow his mind down enough to say, hey man, look, you have a job. Do your fucking job. Now, he didn't have that in him. Lil Dave, So they take him back to their rooms, make him leave, all this stuff, right? That has to sit real sour on a lot of the members. But they have to do it because the National said so. When I heard about this, man, I was mad. I was mad like you wouldn't believe. To do that to somebody or somebodies like those men is beyond. And I talk a lot about the red and white doing that, right? You take the members that some of those men were there when there were 15 members. Some of those men were there when there were 50 members. And you do that to them? I'm glad your wife did what she did. Fuck it, you deserve that shit at that point. That's a shit move. But Dave wins. Dave wins. For betraying Roger, Dave wins. For Laughlin being the biggest scumbag in Laughlin, Dave wins. For talking to the feds, well, let's delve into that. Now, everybody knows what Doc did. Doc, turned canary and decided he was going to just snitch on everybody that he made do the stuff that they were being arrested for. Basically, it was on his watch. It was his call. Do this. But then I'm going to turn around and snitch on you from the top. That's insanity, right? We all are well aware of that. The book that he wrote, the giving away the logo in the plea deal, that was a gangster move. I mean, a crackhead gangster move. I don't know. That dude's a wild man. Lil Dave. Zero paperwork stating Little Dave ever rolled on anybody or set anybody up. There wouldn't be, first of all. Like I said, if you got the National P compromised that badly, you're not ever going to put his name on a piece of paper. You might even, when he's indicted with the rest, make it look, you might have show trials. I don't know. What I do know is this. There was an incident in San Jose. San Jose Mongols were holding a benefit, basically. Members came from all around to show up. While they're all having this party, this weekend-long party, something goes down with another club. It's just a dust-up. Nobody's seriously injured. Nobody is, critically wounded, and there aren't Mouskatools and slashers or none of that, dude. They don't, they just got down, right? It happens. There were anywhere from 15 to 18 Mongols members involved in this certain situation. Not too long after that, Dave, he gets on the Nextel and in open air calls in. If you were in the San Jose incident, you need to come and meet me at Kelly's bar. that's a red flag right there. But nobody's expecting their national P to be dirty like that. So the men show up. As soon as the men show up, who else do you think showed up? Not only was it the feds, but it was the ATF. And not only was it them, but it was the same guy that Dave was telling his old lady has been protecting him. It's the same special agent, shows up with a bus, and they bust all 15 to 18 men and then charge them with whatever happened in this dust up, right? Now, of course, I'm not going to just come out and say, hey, that's on Dave. Dave, set that up. But there were no local cops. There were no other agencies, just them and a bus. And somebody saying, hey, if you were involved in this incident, I need you to come and meet me here. My God. If one of my friends says, hey, you remember that time we did blah, blah, blah down wherever, Pahrump? I need everybody that was involved to meet me at, Kelly's bar. No, buddy. No, that feels like a setup and a half. What are you talking about? I would be so nervous to ever go around them again. It's clearly a setup. So when it comes to it, Lil Dave may or may not have allegedly set up upwards of 12.5 of his club brothers. Granted, Doc got more people, indicted, and Doc got more people messed with or just put into the RICO. Yeah, Doc's got to win in that category. It just is what it is. His Fed game was way better than the alleged Fed game of Lil Dave. I have to say alleged because, whatever. My thoughts, if he was my co-defendant, I'd be really nervous. I'd be really, really nervous. Like, it feels like that dude scumbagged a bunch of his bros. Now, what he did to Roger Penny is unforgivable. That is not the mark of a true leader. A true leader can fight through it all. And he doesn't have to move on them like that, right? That is some Julius Caesar-esque stuff right there, man. Like, what are you even talking about? You just had a god hit by his own people. For what he did to Roger, I can't help it. That dude is the worst of the worst. Lil Dave is way worse in my eyes than Doc because of Roger, Preacher, and Lil Ron. I said it. Now, here's an interesting piece of this too. Oh, Sell 'em Out Sally, Dave's wife back then, estranged wife. They were split up, but they're still together. First off, I'll be damned if I'm going to stay married to somebody who is in a 1% club and his best friend seems to be the lead ATF agent in charge of taking that 1% club down. It's a little awkward, a little bit different. And then on the other side of it, like, I'll be damned if my girl's ever going to snitch me out and I'm going to stay with her. No, sir. Call the cops one time when you're with me and watch. We can't be together no more. Not only that, I can't trust to be around you no more. Because I know me, I'm not going to do anything to make you need to call the police. I don't play felony patty cake with my women. I don't do any of that, right? That's an ignorant game. Somebody don't want to be with you, fuck it. They just don't want to be with you. It hurts for a minute, and then you get over it, right? Not these dudes. These dudes are so stuck on these chicks. Like, they could literally, she burned his world to the ground and basically tried to set him up to go to the upper room. He's waking up drinking coffee with her right now. That's wild. Sorry to talk about your wife like that, but fuck both of you, really, if you're asking me. They're playing a dangerous game of chicken, those two. Oof. If you care about somebody, you're going to try and set them up to die? Man, that's awkward as hell. But there are women like that. There definitely are. They get something in their mind, and they'll burn you to the ground. Leave you reeling. Like, what just went on? Because in their head, they got it that you did something, and like, this is payback for... Nah, girl, you just make that shit up. You made that shit up in your head, right? And you moved on it because you needed to make that up in your head, and you needed that man to be a villain, right? Because if he's not a villain, then you're a piece of shit for what you did, and you can't admit that. They never will. So they'll do everything. They'll move to different states. They'll get new friends. They'll do anything to make sure that man cannot rebound from this in the eyes of all the friends that they smut him up with and all the club members and things like that. They'll bounce. They'll leave. And they'll tell anybody that'll listen how you were the evil. And the whole time you're just sitting there heartbroken, like, what the fuck just went on? Why would you do that? It's a cold world. It's a cold world. People don't have accountability anymore. Lil Dave didn't have accountability, and his wife sure the hell didn't either. Because she said, I do. She says, I love you. I got your back, 10 toes down. That's a rough one right there. And for Lil Dave to even want to be around her, I don't get it. It can't be that good, homie. Every single female's got one of them. I promise. Ain't nobody doing anything extra like it. Like, that's just so game changing, right? That you would allow them to burn you like that. And then what? You're still with her? Like, there ain't nothing you won't forgive her for now. So I don't know. I'm swaying towards Lil Dave. Everybody's got their own opinion. Fuck it. There ain't nothing we can do about the wind, right? Everybody's got their own opinion. Everything my brother's fixed in this house, and I got my wall is the only one that just it feels like it's peeling off. God, I'll say it again, man. God's on some real fuck shit when it comes to me. I'll tell you what. It ain't been windy at all. All of a sudden, I want to do a video. It's like somebody's fucking jackhammering or sledgehammering the damn wall, dude. Thank you. I'll let you guys make your decision. The club already made their decision. Dave out and on the run. Showed up in Pasadena, though. That was a little bit strange in its own right. I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of RICO activity come from that incident where Lil Dave walked into a restaurant that members were already seated in, minding their own business, and this dude shows up, gets to John, they get to John back and forth. The members a little older. The one that was, slashed by Lil Dave in the box cutter, but he walked right up to Lil Dave and fed him one knuckle sandwich. Here, I want you to go ahead and hold on to this for me, Dave. And Dave, I don't know. I guess he needed to pull that out. He was there with a couple of his friends. Hey, if you're going to be Lil Dave's friend, like, understand, it could go down, right? That's a part of it. It's a very, very, very likely situation when you're in Pasadena or something like that. The IE, any Southern California area, shit, anywhere in America these days, the Mongols are everywhere now. They're doing the damn thing. They've built up. They've become so awesome when it comes to showing the rest of the motorcycle club world, hey, look, quality over quantity all day long. It's crazy. You don't hear about them eating their own. You don't hear about that anymore, or at all. You never really have. Lil Dave and Doc are both alive. There's members of other clubs that have done way less and did not survive. And it's a source of pride. It is a source of pride with the Mongols that they don't do stuff like that. Every now and then you got to clean house. You got to, dust somebody up real quick. I'll tell you what, there wasn't no pizza ovens, incinerators or the like going on, right? Wildness. I'm picking Lil Dave over Doc right now. I don't know why. I know Doc did more damage to more members, but I can't get over what Dave did to Roger in public. Well, not in public, but you know what I'm saying? Like, after those two, they took it to the max. The club, I can't say they barely made it out alive. It's not like the Queen Mary. This is like a lot different than that, but that was a devastating blow because now you have people and they'll say, oh, yeah, the Mongols? That's all feds. Come on, man. There's some really righteous Mongols out there, What's his name, Junior from Dago? Come on, man. That's solid as it gets. All that Dago charter, really. Both Dago charters in that area for 1%. The Hells Angels and the Mongols got elite charters, chapters, whatever. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. We're going to keep digging. We'll never find anything on Lil Dave. That's a fact. And the reason is because they wouldn't write something like that down. Thank you for coming to Vegas Profile Stories. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have an amazing day. And I'll see you next time.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
This is it.
This is it. So we talked about a lot of stuff. Betty!
Hey. YouTube wants a sock check, homie. Let's see them socks.
Don't be scared, bro.
La
You
la
got to
la
open your
la
phone.
la
You?
la.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do it.
So Rob from Ventura.
Yeah, and other places amongst the world.
Don't feel like you gotta, stick up for me. I'm fine. I mean, I can handle myself. I ain't never been no coward or needed people to, fight my battles.
BA. Last time we were talking, we started to talk about.
What's up, everybody? This is my nephew, Mikey. Mikey, say hello.
What's up?
Sonia Williams. We came up in the same type of circle, same, all the same people. I don't know if you guys can see it in my eyes, but I'm hurting out here, guys. I'm hurting bad. That's why I haven't been making videos or any of that. Like, my mental life has been torturing me a lot. Say a little prayer for me, maybe. Take it easy, guys.